Hey guys, it's Andrea from the vlog Pine and Prospect Home, and I thought we would just pick up right where I left off in my last video. If you didn't catch it, we are giving our floors a makeover. Cut myself today. And they are all completely sanded, so I just thought I would share that process with you now. And like I said, I'm just sort of picking up where we left off in the last video, which was all about preparing for this, how we taped everything off, and got our house ready in order to do this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you that footage now, and I hope it's a help to some of you guys. Okay, so what are your thoughts, babe?
Right here.
It's not completely clean, but the floors are pretty, what's the word? They're not...
Uneven?
Yeah, they're uneven. But the sandpaper still looks good. It doesn't look too...
No, it's gunked up a little bit from the stain.
Okay.
It's coming up from it, but
so
nothing
let's see the difference between that and that. It's definitely doing the job. It just, there's a lot of uneven areas, so probably gonna have to go over it a couple of times. Yeah. It's always more work than what you think it's gonna be.
I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I want to, wow,
yeah, I know. I don't know, babe. We have this interesting situation. So our floors, it's a beautiful job. You can see how they laid them. It's like an inlay almost, this center part. And then they brought the pieces together like this. So beautiful craftsmanship, but as far as sanding, I know you're supposed to go with the grain. So that'll be tricky. Does it look dusty? Not too bad so far. So, all right.
Well, let me try going in. I gotta get in here.
Okay. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm gonna show you guys how much he got done with one sheet. And what are, you said there were a few things that you learned, that if you slightly lift up on the handle, it puts more pressure.
If I push a little more on the lever that lifts and lowers it, then it puts more pressure on the drum, which pushes it tighter to the floor. But
you don't look really dusty.
But the thing also is that you put too much pressure and then your sander starts to sort of glide.
Oh, okay. So you gotta be careful.
You can't put too much pressure because otherwise you're like leaving all over.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like he got that. You can see where his sandpaper's kind of starting to gunk up. I was looking for the right word to use, but this is about how far he got with one sheet. So it's not going as quickly as we kind of assumed it would, you know, like coming up with one pass. We're gonna have to go over this probably a couple of times. Hasn't gone down the outside yet, obviously, but I mean, it's pretty simple, right, babe? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's
a simple process. You can see that it took up more there with the fresh paper than it did here. So maybe we could have switched the paper out sooner.
Yeah.
But
some spots that were higher, like right here, I can tell the floor is kind of bubbled here. It took off
more,
much quicker than where kind of both, you know, the floor sort of worked.
Right.
So you can see this is much further, you know, this is pretty sanded while this, so it needs a few passes. Right.
Okay. All right, guys, this is after 2.5 hours of work. He had to go over this several times, and I was just telling my mom some areas like, oh my goodness, this area looks gorgeous. You can see the difference between the old floors and the new floors. And then there are some areas that still have a little bit of the old finish on them, and that's just because the floors are uneven. So he'll go over that with a hand sander. Of course, he has to go around the edges, but look at the beautiful detail in our flooring. It is just popping with these beautiful sanded floors. So Kat's checking it out. I'm in love with it, and I'm losing my voice for some reason. But just wanted to give you guys an update, and I can't wait to keep moving. All right, guys, I have been sanding today for my husband. My sister took the kids, so I'm in work clothes. And it's pretty simple to figure out. Like, it takes a little while getting a hang of the machine, but the floors, apart from like this outside border in the living room, are done. I finished them off with 100. We have to vacuum and get some of these little piles of dust up, but they are looking so beautiful. I am in love with the detail, and I just can't wait to start playing with stain colors, but we have a long ways to go. So you can see the difference in the old flooring versus the new. So it's just like night and day difference. But we are gonna go ahead and move on into the dining room. My husband should be home soon, so I'm excited to show him that I finished this space. But look at these tiny, tiny little boards they used, you guys. Oh my goodness, just so neat. All right guys, it's day 3 of sanding, and we have one room left to do. That's our sunroom. For a project like this, I'm thankful we have a small house. So we've got all the windows taped off. We also taped off my desk area over here, just because there's some things in the drawers. We've slid the piano out, and you can see how heavy it is, and the wheels kind of are marking the floors. Hopefully we can sand those out again. My husband thinks we can. They're not deep gouges or anything, but that is a heavy piano. Corner cupboard is currently in the living room. Couch is covered. Dining room is all sanded. Look how beautiful. It is just beautiful. I cannot wait to see these floors refinish. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys an update. My husband is emptying the bag on the sander, and then this is the last room, and you can see the difference between the old and the new floors. So I'm looking forward to seeing them with the new stain color. All right, so that bag right there is what he just dumped. How many times have you dumped this bag, babe? 3 times. So, and you can see when you switch out pads, it creates quite a bit of dust, so he just vacuums that up each time. Oh, excuse you, buddy. It's pretty simple to change out the sandpaper. You just kind of have to slide it under the screws. I was actually sanding yesterday, and I changed a few pads myself. So, you just kind of slide it underneath the screws and then make sure they're really tight to keep it in place. Oh, excuse you, Isaiah. There's background noises here. And we are finished. So you can see the dining room is done. I love this view right here. Looking into the sunroom, it's just so pretty. I'll show you the sunroom here. Finished with the floor sander, I should say. We still have to do all the outsides of the room, which is going to be a tedious project, but at least we can return this thing. So, very exciting. Finished it in 3 days, and that's like in the evenings too. Evenings and then morning on this Saturday, but pretty excited about this. Okay, so Mike is curious to see how much paper he went through for our home. Dining room, living room, and sunroom. So how many pieces?
So 8 pieces of the 60 grit and 3 of the 100.
Okay, wow. 8 of the 60, 3 of the 100, so. And some of them still kind of feel like they have...
They have some more than others, but you notice that...
You really notice the difference.
You really notice the difference when you put on fresh paper.
Right, right.
So it probably is worth going through more than
trying to use...
make one go.
Because we actually have a lot on those shelves. We have a lot of sheets left, and the guy said we could return them, so. I don't know, as far as square footage, babe, I don't know what the square footage of these 3 rooms is, but I would say just grab more than you think you need, because most places will let you return whatever you don't use, so. Okay, so after we got all of the sanding done with the large drum sander, my husband actually went back to that same rental place and he got something called they were calling it a trim sander. I believe it's similar to like an orbital sander. I could be wrong about that. I'll put a note here if I am. My husband wasn't in love with it just because it wasn't sucking the dust properly. And so it kept getting the pads really gunked up with all of the extra dust. Like the bag that was attached to it just wasn't doing a good job. It was barely full and a lot of the dust was just escaping out into the room. So he wasn't a huge fan of the one they rented to him. He also used, I know he used a mouse sander for a few areas, like around the doors here, and he used another type of sander too. I'll put the footage here for you as well. But that's what he used to do all of the floors along the walls. And that was quite the process. I would definitely say that that was more work, much more work than using the large sander, like much more work. It was hard on my husband's back, bending over and doing all of that, hard on his knees. You know, we tried to keep the vacuum running because the sander was spitting out so much dust. So definitely more dirty, definitely more work. After all of the sanding was done, it was time to clean now. And so that was an exciting part for me. All right guys, we are officially done sanding. My husband.
What? Did you just say?
So dusty. Now it's time to clean up. My mom has the boys, so it's time to take all the plastic wrap down and do some cleaning. Well, I hope this video helped you guys. I hope it gave you some tips, and maybe if you're wanting to do the same thing to your floors, this just will give you sort of an idea of what to expect. I'm gonna have a blog post all about the sanding process available next week, and we are already testing stains on the floors, and I'm so excited to share that process with you as well. I'm gonna talk about what we chose and what we learned. So thanks so much for watching. If you are new to my channel, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.